That's not what's supposed to be displayed there. Oh, that's odd. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Beerfield Podcast. I am your host, Beerfield Hop, joined by Beerfield 3. Dan, how are you?
Hi. Good. Tired. So I was greeted by the hospitality at the hotel I stayed at, housekeeping. Well before I was ready to check out 3 times this morning. It's very
That's gross.
it was very unwelcomed.
Did you have the little sign on your door that said
I
"Do not
always have this
disturb"?
sign. I don't want anyone, no matter how long I'm there for.
They just
don't touch
ignore
my
it.
shit.
Was it a La Quinta by chance?
No, but
That would have been hilarious if it was.
I know. I go to find out because I do all my check-in and check-outs on my phone through the app. I had already checked out, apparently. So
Oh, that's why.
they're doing their but like I don't know what the fuck that happened. Like they like in the middle of the night do a ghost swipe with my finger with the same pattern and it checked
you probably
out.
didn't. What probably happened is the front desk they went ahead and checked everyone out so that they can get bills and stuff printed under people's doors and shit. And then that happened.
So stupid. I was like,
it is.
You guys are glad I already took my nasty shit and showered this morning because that would have been rough for you guys to walk into. Like just me, because of course the hotel, like I'm leaving the bathroom door open. I'm in my room.
You're in your room by yourself. Why wouldn't you? Just
why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
I shower with the door open because there's no air, ventilator in the bathroom.
In most hotel bathrooms,
fog up the fucking no beer. So they would have raw dog, Dawn, and shit smell. They would have been like, "Oh, sorry, sir, I didn't mean to, catch you in this predicament that you're in." Well, it's called relieving myself of the trash in my system, and then showering afterwards because
that's what you should do.
That's what you do.
After every time you poop, take a shower.
You feel so good. I feel so clean afterwards.
All right, we're gonna preview the AFC East today. That's what we got going on for you as we continue through our division previews. So yeah, special Friday edition. I was unavailable yesterday due to some charitable engagements. So we're back tonight, though, making it up for you. Episode 491. Let's get going.
So close.
I know. I feel it in my bones.
What's fueling Beerfield?
By the way, we are on YouTube, but there will be no video feed of our faces on YouTube because apparently that software decided to go sideways and not detect the window capture anymore after we started recording. Like I tested it beforehand and it was fine, and then you joined and it said nope. So
it was like
whatever.
I've seen that face too many times. We're getting the fuck out of here.
Happens on occasion. Don't care. All right, what are we drinking? I'll start. I have 2 lights. It is a summer lager from Allagash Brewing. Checks in at 6.7%. It's brewed with Sauvignon Blanc grape must. And then fermented with a combination of lager and champagne yeast. So it's really a hybrid between a lager and a white wine, basically. Sauv Blanc and champagne yeast. So it should be full of grapefruit, subtle grain, and dry.
I'm drinking Day Old Fresh, can this morning fresh.
Ooh.
Modern Brewing Party Supply.
Oh, I love Modern.
These guys are out of St. Louis,
Missouri.
This is hopped with Nelson.
Wait, were you here?
Yeah, I was in St. Louis last couple of days.
Oh. Well, shit. If I'd have known you were around yesterday, I would have brought you out to drink beer with me last night.
Oh, dude, it was... I probably should have done that, but
you could have came
either way.
Drank stubborn beer and ate pork steaks.
Yeah, it was mostly I just want to sit in my hotel room and decompress from the last couple of days. But anyways, again, This is hopped with Nelson, Galaxy, Mosaic, and then dry hopped with a shit ton of Mosaic and Galaxy. So Mosaic and Galaxy are going to be your fruited hops. I think Nelson's more of like
Grape.
your drape, yeah, like your white grape dryer.
Yeah.
So this is their hazy pale ale. It's called Party Supply. I ran into one of their workers, Rap Brewer, when I was at one of the Total Wines out there, and super cool guy. We bonded over the travesty and laughing of last night's debate. So
Good.
he told me that he was like, he sees me walking around looking for beers because I want to, bring the beer on for the show tonight. He was like, you should pick up that Party Supply. I literally canned it this morning. I'm like, well, it's not every day you get your hands on day fresh hazies. Not generally what I prefer. I generally like to let them sit for a couple weeks before I crack open to them. But
rounds them off. But
it's also a lot of fun. A lot of people prefer them this fresh. You get a lot of the freshness. It's the best time to get. I mean, if you really, really love hops,
it's way better. Fresh hazies are better than old hazies, but like most things, it's a bell curve. It's just a really steep bell curve with them.
Yep, it just depends on what you prefer in terms of letting the hops smell out just a little bit. I like mine between 2 to 4 weeks. So
I like them to blend, and marry together a bit. All right,
this is our hazy pale ale.
Sweet. I get to judge high ABV beers tomorrow afternoon. So I get to judge everything over 8%.
That sounds
like
a blast. I get to give out beer samples to people at the zoo in Bloomington. So
sweet.
Yep.
Both
super fun.
Both busy in that industry tomorrow, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
All right. Let's get ahead and get into the news. Could be a lot of rumor-based stuff, but there's some funness. I found something fun to talk about right out of the gate.
Yeah.
News.
Yeah. Oh.
I was seeing a lot of green,
Well, I can hear the drops. I don't know that you hear.
It's fine.
News.
I can hear the drops. All 8 listeners can hear the drops. Just you.
I was hoping to not have to worry about it, but then I forgot about the news drop, so I started talking. I was like, all right, he's in pause.
Yeah. Waiting for him to talk? Yeah, no, waiting for the drop to finish.
Oh, fuck, it's right.
Waiting for the drop to finish.
I can't hear him.
And now I know you can't hear him.
So close.
The Athletic has reported that J.J. McCarthy definitely won't start in week 1. Further digging into this, that's really not a surprise. They're going to give Darnold every chance to start, but basically if he's dishing the ball, not turning it over, Vikings are winning, then they're not going to screw with it. So chance that McCarthy won't see the field in 2024. That's
been
I think that's what most people expected
for the entire time, is they wanted him to get surely acclimated with the system as much as possible before they threw him to the wolves. So, I mean, I have my own opinions about it, but hey, if the Vikings are winning, who the fuck cares? It's the same thing for the Bears if they decide to keep Justin Fields.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Alongside drafting Caleb Williams, if that were to happen, this could have been the same thing for them. So,
but it's not.
It's not. It's like Jacoby Brissett's going to start over Drake May, and that's pretty much all I have. Kirk Cousins will start over, Penix, and Zach Wilson's going to beat up Bo Nix in Denver, and then we're all going to rejoice. So
we'll see about that Bo Nix thing. But yeah, this is expected from McCarthy. I think that's kind of the piece there is just, you weigh that accordingly, right? Darnold's going to get a chance.
Yep. And
he's going to get a chance with good receivers, better receivers than he's had in his career. If you ask me,
better coaching, better
everything,
offensive structure. I mean, I'm not saying that with the 49ers, but he was never going to start or play with the Niners with Brock there. So
no, he wasn't. And with Carolina, he was solid. At least a bunch of rushing touchdowns early on before he got hurt. Weirdly enough, so just Things to keep an eye on.
We'll see.
But, lean that way for him to start. Doesn't do anything McCarthy dynasty-wise. You should be expecting this. Giants news. Brian Daboll calling plays with Mike Kafka operating in a complementary role. Kafka ran the offense in 22 and 23. They ranked 20th in passing rate, 18th in plays per drive, 14th in plays per game. So the thought here is that if Daboll does take over play calling, that more passing, higher pace of play, that type of stuff is generally good news for wide receivers and pieces in that offense. So again, something to keep an eye on if there's a significant difference between, Daboll versus Kafka and how they run offenses. I think personnel does a lot with this too, but Giants don't have Bills personnel. So
I'll be interested to see how much is actually, how much of what we saw in Buffalo during the Daboll years is him being the play caller, or at least being influenced with the play calling there. Obviously Josh Allen, obviously Daniel Jones isn't Josh Allen, but you bring in Neighbors to kind of be the Diggs role in what I think, Daboll's going to want. So, like I've always said, I think he has a chance to lead our rookies in targets this year. I love like his longer term outlook, compared to guys like Rome and Harrison Jr., but he has every opportunity to be just peppered with targets.
mm-hmm.
There is legitimately zero competition for him out there. Like as of right now, he has his Gabe Davis and Jalen Hyatt, and he's fine. Like it's going to be Neighbors all day, and as long as you say it's healthy, and Daniel Jones can be Daniel Jones of 2022, I think you might get some production out of there. Not horrible for Jones either, because now he gets a legit throwing option instead of old man Darren Waller and the corpse of Sterling Shepard and Kadarius Toney and Waddell Robinson.
There's no way this is a real person.
Bless you.
No, not Wan'Dale Robinson and Kadarius Toney. Those are real people. I'm reading ahead to find the next news item, and there's no way this is a real person.
Let's hear it.
We'll get to it in a second. I got one before it.
Yeah.
Chiefs released Isaiah Buggs. Thank you. He's still in jail. Should be. The Packers named their next president and CEO, taking over for current president and CEO Mark Murphy, who will be there till 2025, but his successor has been named. The guy's name is Ed Policy.
Ed Policy?
Yeah, Policy. There's a CEO whose last name is Policy. And
very fitting.
It's just a black box for the picture. So it's like, is this a creative player? Is this the Patriots head coach in Madden?
This is a new video game called Create a President.
Yeah, where's Johnny Quarterback?
Oh, Jesus.
Go a little bit longer here, but I don't know that I'm going to find anything else really worthwhile news-wise right now.
It's really quiet.
It's been really quiet.
My focus has been on the NBA draft. The NHL draft's going on as we speak.
Yep.
And then it's going to be quiet. We got the week of no men's professional sports. At least we have the links. At least we have that.
Yeah, because
you really watch that out here. So
yeah, what you mean? Because All-Star Week and stuff coming up.
Yeah,
like
baseball.
Baseball
All-Star Week, and obviously the three other sports. We're a month and a half away, or about 5 or 6 weeks away from the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, so, from that starting. So XFL's wrapped up, or UFL's wrapped up right now. So
damn,
you got to go deep. You got golf, NASCAR, probably disc golf. Nope, the Pro Tour's off this week too. So
it's holiday week too, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, Ricky Person signed by the Seahawks. I wonder if Ricky Person's ever met Ed Policy.
They actually play disc golf together.
Yeah. All right. Preview time.
Division preview.
All right, AFC East, and we're going to start with the Buffalo Bills. So, I guess let's just go straight into this passing game because that's going to be the discussion here. Diggs is gone. Gabe Davis is gone. Top 2 target getters. You've got Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, Mac Hollins, Chase Claypool, MVS, KJ Hamler, Andy Isabella fighting for targets here. Not exactly a who's who. You got a rookie that didn't test well with Curtis Samuel, who's been more of a gadget guy, a 5th-round rookie that a lot of us liked last year, and a bunch of guys behind that have bounced around. It's like there was hype on them at one point team, and they've all disappointed. Is what this receiver core is. We look more towards the tight ends here with Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. Most of the offense running through them. Who leads this team in targets this year?
I think it's going to be Kincaid because I think his role is going to be secure throughout the majority of the year. But I actually don't hate, Curtis Samuel, at least to start off the year. I think he has the best chance of leading all receivers in targets if he stays healthy. And it depends how quickly, if and when it happens with Keon Coleman, with him being able to come along. We like Shakir. Shakir plays that slot role. He could be what Michael Beasley was in this offense, for the early portions of Josh Allen's career, which bodes well for him. But it also took him a long time last year to get going. And Samuel kind of just fits, I think, the all aroma what they're looking for. And also, he still has a lot of juice left to him despite the injury. So I think Kincaid is in a Travis Kelce type of, he's in that type of potential where Josh Allen is still Josh Allen. Like when Ken Dorsey took over this offense second half of last year, Allen was still a top producing fantasy QB despite of the receiving and the passing were kind of taking a step back. Diggs has potentially his fall off, and you get your inconsistencies from across the board. But Samuel at least brings a wide receiver that can at least run a full complete route tree and helps to take the pressure off the tight ends. It could also help open things up for Kincaid because depending on how they want to use him, he can be used in different ways. So it's going to be kind of ugly, to say the least. And the hope is that Keon can actually take a step forward and be productive this year.
It feels like it's going to be kind of ugly, and that's a little scary because Josh Allen is still Josh Allen, even with Diggs falling off and everything like that. A lot of that's rushing floor, but man, you took talent away here, and I don't think that Curtis Samuel
might be Mahomes of last year, except at least Allen's less rushing upside.
Well,
it could be no receivers is worth taking here.
Right, and I think that if you tell me that Curtis Samuel ends up with a season like Rashee Rice had last year, okay, fine. If he's healthy, I can buy that. That was like, what do we say it was, like 800 and some odd yards?
120 targets, 1,000. It was like 1,000 yards.
South of 1,000.
Touchdowns.
But yeah.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
But Curtis Samuel's also a guy who was healthy 16 games last year and only started 4 of them for Washington. He only saw 91 targets. Now, yes, McLaurin was there, but there was no number 2, really. He was the 2 and didn't really turn that into anything. His career high in yardage is 850. So
the best thing about this is that it's not going to cost you.
He's played 1 full season. It's not going to cost you.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying to go out and pound the table. I'm saying if you're going to get any early investment, I think on any of these receivers to start,
it's perspective. I'm not debating you. It's the perspective piece to what you were saying, which is that you're looking at Samuel, yes, potentially being the top target getting wide receiver, but that's going to be good for wide receiver 3 or 4, or wide receiver 3 or 4, if that. Dalton Kincaid has the opportunity to ascend to elite level tight end status. Dawson Knox could put the Bills in a rarefied air having 2 tight ends in the top 12, given where they're going to have to find targets from, and that both of them are proven pass catchers. So
I don't know if Knox is going to be the guy. I think where Knox will thrive and is in the right, it'll be almost like a Twitter running back backfield where you have your outside the 20s running back, like your grinder back outside the 20s, and then you have
Yeah.
Your
But-
goal and goal red zone kind of guy. And I think that's what you may get from Kincaid and Knox. And you just hope that Buffalo can sustain enough drives for Knox to be productive through touchdowns. I think it might be a little bit of a headache if you're playing in regular leagues, but in best ball, as probably a last round target in those drafts to try to, build around your Josh Allen stacks. I think Knox is stinky, especially if
Two
Kincaid
tight end leagues,
gets
shit like
hurt.
that.
Yeah,
I mean, the split.
if he is to miss time too.
The split last year between them, route participation was 82% for Kincaid, 60% for Knox, and I wouldn't be surprised if you tell me that you're going to see them do that more. Basically, if you're going to see both of their route participation come up a bit, given the problems that they're going to have finding receivers, and they're going to have to get creative. They're going to have to chip block. They're going to have to use Allen's athleticism, and they'll get creative with these two. I think is what you're going to see for Dawson Knox.
I also got to stay healthy.
Yeah,
Well,
he does. It's been rough the last 2 years. So, you get 58% route tree for him versus 86%, 58% route participation from him versus 87 for Kincaid. Still 235 air yards is good. For a tight end, no more than he played. He's been relatively consistent. Like you said, there's touchdown upside there. So that's kind of where I go with that with Knox. He's never been a high volume guy, but you see that go from 2 to 3 to 3 to 5 in two tight end leagues or for weekly streamers. Now you're talking that's viable alongside of Kincaid, even though I do think Kincaid's the guy I'm probably the highest fantasy commodity here, not named Josh Allen or James Cook. Talking about the running backs for a minute, because that's the other places he's going to go. James Cook solidified himself in that role last year, and they didn't really do a lot behind him. It was a thin running back class. They didn't go out and attack free agency for anybody. They brought in Ty Johnson, which doesn't really instill fear in anybody. They drafted Ray Davis in the 4th, signed Frank Gore Jr. as a college free agent, and have Darrington Evans there, who's been a kind of a journeyman. There's not really anybody there to threaten James Cook. They're hoping somebody rises up, and one of those other guys will, in kind of a change of pace or as a spellback role. James Cook is a guy that's set up potentially to do bell cow work, and guess what? Last year, this is a guy that did have 281 touches and went for 1,500 scrimmage yards. So look for a repeat of that performance, if not up over 300 touches for James Cook. And that's a little scary because he's not a big back, but he did it last year and he was healthy.
I like him a lot this year for redraft. I think if there's any season where Cook is going to have his career year in touches, it's going to be this season. There's no true number one receiver. Josh Allen is still going to make teams respect him and the passing game, even though the passing game looks weak on paper, over this running game with a smaller size Cook. But he's 24 years old. He was never really heavily used. I think even in college,
wasn't heavily used in college at all.
He has a specific role this year. Now, these guys, they don't typically have multi-years of this, but there's ever a 1-year bet on, this is the year to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, based on ADP, we'll see what happens with that in redraft leagues. Dynasty, it's, you just hope that it happens this year, and then you reevaluate what you want from him in terms of value. But when we're looking at just his production for this year and what his involvement should be, I think Cook has the upside of being a top 3 target getter amongst running backs. I think he could be, I don't know if he'll approach Breece Hall levels. Breece Hall is obviously bigger and is more involved in the offense, but I mean, there's not a lot here, and it can't all be Kincaid.
No.
And we're not big Ian Coleman fans. We're obviously pretty mum on this, and they're going to have to get receiving work. And with this Ken Dorsey offense last year, Cook found some of his best games within that. So
Yeah, and I think you will again.
I like
The other thing here as well. You made the Chiefs comparison earlier. I do just want to say that the one thing that these guys do have that the Chiefs didn't is most of these guys, or some of these guys, well, Khalil Shakir can catch a football. So
Sorry, go ahead.
I think Keon Coleman's hands are pretty good. Samuel's hands are pretty good. And it's really when Hollins has been usable, and I think is probably brought in to do the Gabe Davis thing. So just take that for what you will.
It'll be really intriguing. This is like this receiving core, just to go back to it real quick, is going to be what I'm keeping my eye on because I do want to know who starts. Who's going to get, the first team reps in preseason and what we expect to see
Mac Hollins
in
might
week 1
be sneaky to start over Coleman, just given his size and the reprise of the Gabe Davis role and what he was brought in to fill.
If he's going to start, like I would expect Samuel's going to play. A lot of people expect him to play slot role. I expect him to be the number 2 outside flanker. He's the only guy I know for sure that's going to start, and probably Shakir. I think it's going to be Hollins get the favor over Coleman to start week 1, and
probably
we've seen Mac Hollins kind of have.
He's had some games. He's not really.
He's had some games. He does.
He's not really put together a full season consistently or anything like that, but he's had some games, and this is
no.
The only 2 guys here that really have size are Mac Hollins and Chase Claypool, and I'm not betting on Chase Claypool. So
I love offseason of Chase Claypool going to be the number 1 receiver in Buffalo. I think for all Buffalo fans, you fucking hope he's not.
Yeah.
But
all right.
This is a bad receiving room, so who knows? Who the fuck knows?
Anything else on the Bills before we go to the Dolphins?
No. Let's go to the more fun offense to talk about.
More fun offense to talk about, but also an offense where not a lot is changing. So Dolphins are basically running it back. There's only a handful of changes here to get into. We got Tua back. He's backed up by Mike White. Let's start running backs here since we haven't talked a lot of running backs. There's not a lot that's changed here. They brought in Jalen Wright, who's another kind of outside the tackles, track speed type of guy. Their mold. What we're really looking at here is Raheem Mostert, another year older, coming off of a great season, and Achane, who was good when he was healthy for the most part, but he wasn't always healthy. What's your outlook on these 2 guys?
I think both Mostert and Achane are priced pretty aggressively. Miami was one of the top offense. I think they were like the top scoring offense, or at least top productive offense in total yards. You want to have, if you're playing in multiple leagues, I think you want to try to have a shot of having a Mostert or Achane. I think the cost is going to be pretty high though, especially because running backs are pretty thin after the top about 10.
Yeah, you want to insulate it though.
You do. And I think Jalen Wright is definitely one sneaky. He's going to be one of those watch list guys, waiver guys early on, especially Mostert, who's not been a product of great health throughout his career.
No.
Older, smaller on his size.
He's not going to repeat 18 touchdowns.
There's no fucking way. I mean, they may get 20-plus rushing touchdowns from this offense. I don't think we're going to get it from 80% of it's going to be from Mostert. I think Achane will see his role increase. Wright's the one where I think maybe he'll get some work later on if he can injury himself a role, but I think it's a 2-back. Yeah, like he's a 1 injury away from being Achane and 2 injuries away
from being Mostert.
So
yeah,
it's going to be. But I think he's the guy that you want to keep your eye on for sure.
You got plug and play running backs, and if the other 2 are priced aggressively, then yeah, Jalen Wright's a perfect dart throw given some of the lack of health here for late rounds in your redraft leagues or whatever the case may be. Like we said, neither guy, Achane or Mostert, particularly healthy. Both guys still, even at 32, Mostert still extremely explosive. Achane still, showed off that explosiveness.
And it's also very productive. It's also a very productive offense, and Mostert's the goal line back in an offense that was number 1 in scoring. So
yeah,
I mean,
just don't
incentive value for as long as he's healthy.
Just don't go in naked with those guys. That's pretty much what we're saying here. If you're going to do that, fine. Make sure you got some insulation. Don't rely on them to be a standalone one.
Don't don't let them be your hero back if you're
Yeah.
going the hero route. Like,
Right.
don't go heavy
'Cause
wide receiver, then go, I'm gonna go Mostert only, and then just hope
'Cause
for the best.
there are weeks that they will be, but then there's gonna be stuff that they won't be. Johnny Smith comes into this offense coming off of a good season in Atlanta to pull the tight end role. That's attractive. Again, you're looking more towards this mess of tight ends, but it's a good offense. Smith has size, proven receiving tight end. Was used last year over Pitts. We can argue why, but you got to be talented to get on the field over that.
He had his role.
And he's had his role in several different places. The New England thing was kind of shitty, but
I mean, they fucked.
They screwed a lot of things up, but on either side of that, he's been really, really good. So, he's brought in for a reason. Miami struggled to get productivity out of the tight end position, and even more so, there's a need there, right? They figured out kind of down the stretch of, okay, we can take away this deep game. It's hard to take away Tyreek Hill, but we've seen Waddle do some disappearing. We've seen Hill do some disappearing, and to me, what this does is it gives them another dimension. Is Johnny Smith is somebody that can work the seams in that track style, but also work the middle of the field. So
he's still one of the faster. He's not the fastest anymore, but
he's still one of the more athletic tight ends.
He was a monster combine tester back in 2017, his rookie year. Like he saw when House a 70-yarder this past season. Like the dude still got some juice. Gets to have Hill and Waddle kind of take the tops off, kind of work over and underneath. Like, I don't know if the volume's going to be there for Jonnu, but there is at least one game where Jonnu takes 150 plus. Like, he's like 3 for 90 and 1. And like, he's a top 3 tight end. Like, I don't think the targets are going to be there for him. But the big playability.
582 and just 582 and 3 last year, 50 receptions on 70 targets, I think is plenty repeatable.
Yeah, it's more so the consistency. Like if Waddle gets hurt, like it's more so I think he has massive big play potential. It's just I think the consistency now. This team still ran through Hill. Like this receiving room is still through Hill. Even with a healthy Waddle, it's all about Tyreek Hill. And I think they also want to be more balanced. Tua isn't a volume passer. I don't think Miami wants him to be a volume passer.
Well, yeah,
but they definitely can because they got fucking speed everywhere. Like he doesn't have to do a whole lot. He'll have one open guy at least.
Let's put it this way: this is better than giving Durham Smythe was their third highest target getter, 43 targets. So.
Oof.
It's better than giving 52 targets to
100%.
Durham Smythe and whoever else. So, it's a good thing.
Yep.
Wide receivers, not a lot's changed. They're bringing Odell. Odell hasn't been worth a damn thing for several years now.
I think he gets
and
cut.
The wide receiver 3
I don't think he makes the team.
In this offense hasn't been worth a damn thing. If he doesn't make the team, you're looking at Braxton Berrios or Eric Uzakama or Anthony Schwartz or somebody else jumping into that. You're not worried about the wide receiver 3 here. And honestly, it was last year 171 Tyreek Hill targets, 104 to Jalen Waddle. Nobody else is over 50. So take that for what you will. Those guys both missed games too, if that tells you anything.
I mean, Hill was on pace to break records.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt. And then that was the end of it. He was on pace. Like he was, and I don't know how much we're going to keep getting at because he's in his 30s. But he's a perfect fit for Miami with what they want to do on offense and how they want to structure their.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing.
With everything
down the stretch, and what cost them was giving those guys between the two of them 280 targets became a predictable game plan. I think Jonnu helps with that wrinkle. I just think it gives them a little more dimension, and that's why I like him.
No, I think I think the value in Jonnu is going to be great, and I think he's going to pay off on probably his double-digit round ADP.
I was going to say I'm real curious when we get into ADP episodes because look, there's a method to this, right? I'm doing my research for my drafts right now. This is more for me than anyone else at this point.
Well, Scott Fishbowl starts in
right
a week and a half, so we're
this
gonna have a lot of
is
good ADP conversation.
very much like, let me identify the guys I think I like based on roster structure and everything like that, and then we get to have the ADP discussion, and I get to find out if they're really a value or not.
I want to see where it's at right now. I wonder if we got any. Nope.
Beer review.
All right, Dan, how is your 24-hour-old modern?
It's good. It's it looks like a hazy pale. Light. You get, the juiciness up front. You get the subtle dryness from the Nelson hops kind of throughout. And it kind of, it's got the classic dry finish to it too. The lows of dry hopping kind of, it's like you're drinking a hazy, whether it be a hazy IPA or a hazy pale ale. Regardless, you know what you're drinking. And if you like these styles, if you love hazies, this is one that you can kind of add to the board of being what you expect it to get. Like, this is the reason why I don't like bringing hazies on, but it's a classic hazy. It's juicy, it's tropical, it's stone fruit, grapefruit, a lot of grapefruit. And then with the Nelson, you get that drier finish, really finishes clean, to an extent, not a lot of lingering outside of like just a chewiness from having really, really fresh hops added and just fresh canning to it. So it's good. I think this, I still got 3 more cans, and I'll probably crack open into those, throughout the next, couple of months to see how it, changes throughout.
Marries together.
I expect it to be good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Expect it to be still tasty.
Oh, yeah. All right. So I was drinking Allagash's 2 Lights. And yeah, overall, I definitely get some of the like grassy, lemony, and kind of like bright fruit notes of the Sauvignon Blanc grapes. And yeah, interestingly enough, when I first poured it, I got kind of a malty, like crackeriness to it. But now the nose is definitely what I'd get out of a Sauv Blanc. It's a little bit minerally. It's grassy, lemony. Definitely drinks more like a lager. It's light, it's crisp. There's some bright pear there. Not a ton of bitterness or bite to it. It does finish nice and dry. Brings you back in wanting more. It's not heavy. I gotta agree on the consent on what they named this as a summer lager. This is a really, really good beer. It's very light, very refreshing. Light flavors, light body. Semi-drying, which makes you want to come back in for more, and ice cold. Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Wasn't sure what to expect because it's kind of a unique thing to see grape anything go into beer. Most of the time that's hop derived. It's not from actual grapes. So good job.
John Smith, tight end 27 on ADP.
So that's a situation where I am 100% sure, like 99.8% sure he outperforms tight end 27.
He is behind Noah Fant, Ben Sinnott, of course Brock Bowers, because Bowers will be overdrafted.
Yeah.
Backup tight end Isaiah Likely. Like
he will
Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
Just
he'll outperform
Luke
tight end.
Musgrave. Yeah.
He'll outperform tight end 27.
I
pretty confident in that.
If he's gonna be in mid-20s, I'm fine waiting and pairing him up with maybe someone a little more floor, like a Pat Fryermuth, who's like a tight end like 18, 19.
Yep. All right. New England Patriots.
Oh God.
Yeah. All right.
Let's make this quick.
It's quick because it's ugly. And It's ugly because there's this rebuilding team that's had a lot of turnover. Jacoby Brissett, Drake May, Bailey Zappi are likely your top 3 quarterbacks here. Joe Milton III also present, but those are your top 3. Those are your guys that are going to be battling it out to start week 1. Throwing Zappi in there because whatever, he's got starting experience. He should have just as much of a chance as Brissett or May at this point. I do think this team should start Drake May week 1 and just accept that there's going to be growing pains and there's going to be problems there, but that's just how it's going to be. This is not a team that's built anywhere near win now, that's positioned anywhere in this division to come anywhere close to winning it. I like the Mayo hire. I like some of what they did. I don't think this team has a prayer at being competitive. And that, to me, says that you put Drake May in and let him learn.
I hope the same. The rumor is that it's Brissett right now. Training camps are just starting or about to start. Excuse me. And then obviously preseason. I expect Brissett to get first crack at first team reps in preseason. Game 1.
That feels a lot like defensive vet head coach making. We see this a lot. Defensive vet head coach is going to make the rookie earn it. That's culture.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that too.
You're not going to win games with either 3 of these guys. You know you're not going to win games with Brissett. You know you're not going to win games with Zappi. You could win. Maybe he's Stroud. Maybe you get some hyper elevated play on an offense that looks like dog shit. I mean, Houston was dog in the water last year. We were having the same conversation, saying the same thing about Houston as we're saying about New England.
Yeah,
and that could be the case. I agree. I think May should play week 1, and I think you have to let him. I think in this situation, you have to hope that he doesn't develop bad habits. That's the one concern. That's the one thing I have since learned is the only concern is that because it's going to be bad, you better hope he doesn't develop bad
habits.
Develop the bad habits that come with playing in a dysfunctional, poorly ran or poorly played offense that you saw from Zach Wilson, that you got from Baker Mayfield, that you got just the long list of quarterbacks that, yes, were given the opportunity early, but they weren't in. It just wasn't the right fit and situation for them. So.
I think part of that too, Baker Mayfield was in a clusterfuck of an organization.
It was horrible. But he was also the 101. He was also the first pick overall.
And so was Zach Wilson, and he went to New York, and New York, most people aren't given a prayer. This is the beginning of hope and the beginning of a rebuild with a team that doesn't have that type of pressure or media expectation right now, in my opinion.
This is post Belichick. I mean,
because
it depends on what the expectation is for post Belichick era. I think because the post Brady era is gone.
Sure. As a Bears fan, I think I get some of this, which is it's been so bad, and you were so ready for a change that you're so relieved that there is a change, and what they're doing is going to have 2 to 3 years to get that right, as long as they're showing some signs of improvement. And in the case of the Patriots, it can't get much worse. So that's
it's I don't know. Yeah. I do agree though. I think you should start. It's a crapshoot. You just really hope that New England got the hire right and they got the right fit, the right environment, the right culture to let May grow and develop without, picking up the shit that's gonna, cause them to end up being a bust.
Yeah, and I think so, especially Brissett there is a good quarterback to mentor and a good veteran to have around.
Yeah. Yep.
Running back side of this, they bring in Antonio Gibson, pair him with Ramondre Stevenson, who also just got paid.
I forgot. We haven't even talked. Have we talked about that?
Yeah, we did.
About it last week?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, I don't remember.
So
that's right, we did.
This is a 1A, 1B type of scenario to me. Stevenson, really, really good at breaking tackles and through contact, and has done a little bit in the receiving game, but definitely better between the tackles and in traffic. Gibson, really, really polished receiving back. I'm not going to be surprised if we see both these guys used, and you've got an RB2 and RB3 here. Stevenson going to get goal line work. I'd prefer him. It's almost a draft whoever's cheaper for me. And I'm curious to see where ADP lands here because I do have interest in both guys, just not either of them at a premium.
I mean, like if you want to follow the money, it feels like it should be Stevenson. But as you said it, like when we talked about it in the group chat after Stevenson got signed, this kind of feels like we're going to lean into the running game where you could get production out of both running backs have not shown a great amount of health throughout their career so far. Stevenson's got an opportunity, showed out as being able to handle a full workload. He was rewarded that by them bringing in Zeke, and then that was a clusterfuck of a situation. Gibson just never got the full trust from Ron Rivera during his time in Washington. So I just hate this offense, so it's hard for me to buy into it from that standpoint. But both running backs have shown the ability to catch passes. They both should be able to. And if the offense is going to go a bit run heavier to protect the rookie quarterback,
volume's king.
I think you're going to get some flex value. I think they're both flex value. In both, and if one of them gets hurt, there's an RB2 there. Like there's no RB1 for me in this range because they can't score points. But
no, volume's king though.
Not points, but touchdowns. But volume is king, and both running backs can catch passes. Brissett's too old to be super mobile, and May has never really been that type of guy, and same with Zappy. So there is a lot of checked on opportunity, especially as we talk about the receiving core once we get to it. Which very, very, very young.
Good transition right now. It's actually a decent mix. So running it down for you, you've got Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, the two rookies that have a shot at playing time. You've got veteran presences here like Kendrick Bourne, KJ Osborne, Jalen Reagor, Juju Smith-Schuster, all here.
Look at those names, man. Whew.
Yeah. You've got also some guys that I wouldn't consider like seasoned vets, but that aren't first-year guys either, in Demario Douglas and Keyshawn Boutte, who's going into year 2. So there's a mix of veterans and young guys here. The thing that you don't see is anybody that's clearly going to jump out. So you're going to have to kind of follow training camp on this one. You're going to have to follow preseason and follow the first few weeks here. A lot of people like Baker and Polk as rookies to come in and do something. Kendrick Bourne was their leading receiver the last couple of years. He's coming back off of injury, but he's been good for the team when healthy. KJ Osborne had some flashes in Minnesota. Juju, a former one with the Steelers, who didn't really catch on yet in New England. You can make an argument for any one of these guys. Quite honestly, I don't want to target any of them draft-wise. They're guys that I want to watch waivers and kind of see how things are going to unfold and see what happens there. If we get reports in training camp that somebody's clearly like distancing themselves and pulling them away, then depending on how high the hype gets, I may be able to buy into it because that's what I'm waiting on. But I don't really want to chase any of this draft-wise. Maybe take somebody late like Kendrick Bourne, who's been proven to do it. That's an immediate churn spot as you do get into waivers and redraft. But this is a wide receiver core I'm more comfortable waiting on than targeting anybody as a breakout, not just because of the glut of bodies that are here, but also because, Dan, like you said, it's just going to be bad and they're not going to score a lot of points.
I agree with you. I want absolutely nothing to do with this receiving core. In fact, week one, preseason game 1 could look very different than week 1. That's just how wide open this room is. We expect out of the names you mentioned, we expect guys to get cut. We expect guys to be put on practice squad. And it's so wide open that even the rookies, and Polk is a 2nd round pick and Baker is a 4th round pick, early 4th round pick. Actually, both players were taken early at the top of the days that they were drafted, which is important to know because it gives the team the full night before to really hone in on it. So there's specialty to that. There's no guarantee that they start week 1, and if one of them or both of them struggle, could also be practice squad. That's just how kind of
That's how finicky this is.
uneven it is. Yeah, and it's one of those storms of it's going to be very, very easy to pass on New England skill position players because of how bad we expect the offense to play. There's going to be value. I think both running backs are the guys you want in terms of where they're going to be going in drafts, and maybe Hunter Henry, I guess, because old and trusty tight end, for your rookie QB if he plays or when he plays this year, there's value to that. So I'll be with you. I'll say, you throw one of the guys on watch list. You see how the wide receiver room shakes out, and if one of them starts to stand out like Bourne did before he tore his ACL last year, you're gonna get value, and that's what hopefully you'll get. But
yeah,
I'm not betting that much.
No, not even gonna talk about the tight ends either. So let's move on to the Jets and wrap this thing up.
No, yeah.
All right, so the Jets. What we learned about the Jets last year is a lot of what we already knew. Nathaniel Hackett is an absolute fucking hack of a coach and an OC. Saleh is going to start the season on the hot seat. We like him as defensive coordinator. The Jets' defense has been very good. The Jets' offense is not. And other than that, outside of adding Malachi Corley and Braylon Allen, is depth pieces, I guess. Not a lot different here. It's kind of a run it back with Aaron Rodgers again, and hope he's healthy enough to play.
Fucking pray and
off the ayahuasca
conference.
But the other thing you got to be worried about, which you mention all the time, is that this pairing also is not known for high pace of play. It's methodical and pick you apart. And so, what's that mean? Well, it means Breece Hall's a top 5 running back easily. It means that
top 2, man. Let's go.
It means that we have no idea what we're getting out of Aaron Rodgers. My guess is probably high QB2. Without a lot of volume, without the elite.
That's
yeah.
my guess.
And wide receiver wise, we're hoping that this is a big boon to Garrett Wilson and he becomes the target hog that Rodgers likes to use, and that's that. Mike Williams is here. I won't say anything about that because I don't ever buy into Mike Williams, and you can do that if you want to, but he is what he is. Yeah. And, other than that, Xavier Gibson, Alan Lazard, your next guy's up. Malachi Corley, the rookie. You're not really running anything here.
No, I'm predicting Aaron Rodgers' his final year Tom Brady with Tampa Bay. So you're going to get it, maybe without the volume, which is nuts because Brady threw like 700 passes that season. It was fucking nuts. He threw a lot, and that's not Rodgers' game. Rodgers is 41 years old. Doesn't like he's never seemed committed. Like he's a VP for a presidential candidate. He's off doing drugs. He's on Joe Rogan spitting out, theories about whatever the fuck he thinks he knows more about
on McAfee scientists. Spitting out whatever. Like you're so right.
Weird. Yeah.
He's not
like and like I think is he gonna play the full season? Like, is there a moment where we're gonna get an Antonio Brown level of halftime exit in New York again? Because it was in New York when he did that.
He's off doing things because he doesn't want to be there. I think. Yeah, I mean, I question the commitment level. So yeah, it's entirely possible that he's playing it out to try to prove that he can get back from the injury without his heart being and really playing it out, and he just needs to move on to whatever's next for him, whether that's a career in politics or as an ayahuasca Sherpa or whatever, then go do it. But
I'm here for the dip in Garrett Wilson when this inevitably blows up in the Jets' face, because it's a gauntlet of a conference in the AFC. It's a gauntlet of a division, in the East, and you're not even getting Rodgers of last year, coming off of an MVP season. Like, this is Rodgers coming off of an Achilles tear. Yes, incredibly quick off of his non-planned foot.
The
Yeah,
amount,
man, this is gonna this feels like
the amount of
a classic Jets situation.
the amount of opportunity that's here for Garrett Wilson is insane, though. And
Oh no,
with a healthy
he is
Rodgers,
so boom, or
yeah,
he's so he's gonna have great floor because
we've seen the
regardless of
floor
quarterback.
the last couple of years. Last year, 168 targets, caught 95 of them for about 1,000 yards and 3 touchdowns. The year before, 147,
It's
caught
DeAndre
83 of them
Hopkins,
for
man.
1,100 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean,
I'm
yeah.
here for the Garrett Wilson dip, and then especially if it's bad this year, and if he has to get traded or something, like within 2 years, the Jets could be without both Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson.
They deserve it.
Teams because they deserve to be playing for an organization that actually gives a shit and isn't ran like a shit show.
Yeah.
But those are the only 2 guys that are worth drafting. I want nothing to do with Rodgers. I want all the Breece Hall. I want all the cheap, Garrett Wilson, I guess, cheapish. And that's it. And I'm fine. Like, I like Malachi Corley. I think Mike Williams is basically just Alan Lazard that's been productive, but it's not going to give you shit this year. So I'm there with you. It's just 2 players, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay a premium for Breece, as you should, and hopefully Wilson starts to slip.
All
And
right.
that's that. Who's your tight end?
Tyler
I thought they
Conklin?
brought somebody in. I thought he left.
No, Tyler Conklin, Jeremy Ruckert, Kenny Yeboah, Zach Kuntz, Lincoln Sefcik, and Kevin Failsh.
Okay. So, yeah. Nothing.
Exactly. That's why.
Maybe Conklin, but
That's why I checked out and
You're
didn't talk about it.
I thought I asked. I thought I asked.
All right, that's the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week to talk. What are we talking next week? Probably AFC South. AFC South. Then we'll do a ADP check-in, and then we'll hit the NFC previews. And then another ADP check-in after the NFC previews, some draft strategies, and we'll be at our farewell episode. So,
Love it.
all right. Catch y'all next time. Bye.
Yep.